Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Hydrogen and Fuel Cells 2023 here at the Hannover Messe. I invite you all to please have a seat, have a drink. I hope you had a nice lunch, or maybe you still need to have one. But please, the hostesses are here to serve you with drinks and everything. So, up next, we have a very interesting topic to talk about with you. We'll be talking to Symbio on the innovative hydrogen fuel cell solutions. I'll be talking to the VP Product, Marketing and Strategy, Mr. Christophe Schramm. Please enter the stage.
Thank you. Hi there.
Thank you for joining me, Christophe. Please have
Hello,
a seat.
everybody.
So, how are you enjoying the fair so far?
It's great. A lot of people, a lot of energy and a lot of questions, and clearly the fuel cell industry is moving to the next stage.
Nice. And is it your first time here, or are you here before?
No, we as Symbio have been here before, so this is not the first time, and but we see clearly a growing interest for the fuel cell technology in general, for Symbio in particular. So we're very happy about that.
Nice. And can you tell me a bit more about Symbio? Where do you guys come from? What are you doing?
Yeah. So we are a fuel cell system supplier. We started as a startup in 2010, and then we're turned into a joint venture between Faurecia, which is a major French automotive tier one, and Michelin, the tire manufacturer that you probably all know. And since 2019, the story has accelerated quite a bit. We have grown. We are now more than 600 people. We have developed an important relationship together with Stellantis. We have started serial production for our first product, and we're building a plant. Lots of stuff going on, definitely.
Very cool, and very nice to hear that you're growing so quickly. And what are the projects that you're, the products that you're now putting onto the market? And what are the applications that you're serving?
Okay, so we have been focusing from the very beginning on road automotive applications. That's really what we do. And we bring together, the expertise on fuel cell systems and working as an automotive tier one together with OEMs. We are already in serial production with our first generation 40 kilowatt system, which is currently going into the first small series of light commercial vehicles equipped with fuel cells by Stellantis for a platform that encompasses actually 3 different brands: the Opel Vivaro, the Citroën Jumpy, and the Peugeot Expert, which is a medium-sized light commercial vehicle, 6 cubic meters, 1 ton of payload. And the small series is actually now going out commercially in Germany and France in particular.
Wow, impressive. And you talked about this 40 kilowatt fuel cell. Are there any other products that you're putting on the market now?
Yes, absolutely. Our intention is to cover the entire range of needs for automotive on-road applications. So we have a 40 kilowatt system, again, which is industrial today. We are working on a 75 kilowatt system, on a 150 and a 300 kilowatt system, and we believe that this can cover the entire range of needs, basically from passenger cars through light commercial vehicles, pickups, buses, coaches, up to medium and heavy duty trucks.
Wow. So really everything that has wheels can use a Symbio fuel cell then?
Yes, even beyond on-road, because we intend to leverage our on-road technology, which is really very compact, because automotive doesn't offer much space, to also off-road applications. And we believe that there's also play in off-road. And when I say off-road, I mean typically material handling, construction, agriculture, and we do have active projects in that field as well.
Very interesting. I would also like to open up the questions to the audience. So please, if you have a question for Christophe, raise your hand, or maybe give me a little wink, and then I know to come to you with the microphone. So on-road applications are the main thing that you're focused on. I believe I've also seen a little Symbio logo on a race car. Is that correct?
Yes, that is true. So we have a partnership for race car project that is actually going to run at Le Mans for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So it's part of our DNA. We have been doing this from the very beginning of the startup. We have developed this partnership, and it's today a very nice technology lab where we can test our technologies and prepare technologies for applications in mass market.
Right, because also the topic of that interview is, of course, the innovative hydrogen fuel cells. So maybe this serves as a nice test bench for this innovative technology. But what is so innovative about the Symbio fuel cells?
Well, so we bring together, as I tried to explain, we bring together the expertise. This is more than 30 years of combined expertise that we have. Actually, Michelin, worked on fuel cells from the early 2000s. So even before the startup Symbio was born, Michelin brought in its technology into the startup, who started itself, from 2010. Faurecia as well, Forvia now. So we have built our expertise on 3 fuel cell technologies. We have been able, to attract quite a bit of talent and resources, because we have been selected by the European Union and the French government for an important IPCI project that will allow us to industrialize our current and next generation technologies. You can actually see on our booth the so-called Next Gen 1, which will be followed by the Next Gen 2, and we will work also on a more disruptive Gen 3 technology. So the objective is obviously, is higher power density, higher durability, and lower cost. We are really on a cost roadmap, to lower the cost, because overall it's about making fuel cells, competitive versus incumbent technologies, be it diesel or batteries.
Right. Can you tell me a bit more about this IPCEI project? So, for those of you who don't know in the audience, IPCEI stands for International Projects of Common European Interest. Quite a mouthful.
It stands for important projects.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
Sorry, that's right.
It is a mouthful, I agree.
So why is what you're doing an important project of common European interest?
So I think this is an interesting one. So the European Union has decided to take a more strategic approach on a number of industries. They've done so initially in batteries. They've done then the same thing in semiconductors, and then they came to hydrogen. So now there are a number of waves of projects that are covering the entire value chain of the hydrogen ecosystem, from hydrogen production through storage, through use in industry and mobility, that are being covered. There was a first wave that was announced mid last year for so-called hydrogen technologies, fuel cells, electrolyzers, storage, and we were lucky enough to be part of that. It is really a game changer for us. So there's a very significant amount of funding that has been made available, and we're very grateful to the French government and the European Union, who supported us for that. And it will allow us to build 2 plants with a total capacity of 100,000 systems. And the first plant is actually already about to start. I can say a few words if you want.
No, please tell me more about this plant, because it's a production plant of fuel cells, if I have it right.
Absolutely. So we are in the process of having the first machines moving in. So this will be our new both headquarters and production site, based in Saint-Fond. This is south of Lyon. It's sitting right on the Rhone River, close to a hydropower plant. So we'll also get access to green hydrogen from that hydropower plant, which is very important to us, because we need hydrogen for our process and we want it to be green. And we will start operations by the end of this year. And it is likely going to be, one of the bigger, if not the biggest, European fuel cell facility.
Right, very, very interesting, and very glad to see that you're taking action and you're starting to produce fuel cells at a large scale, such that hopefully the cost can come down, of course. Once again, I would like the audience. I see a lot of questions popping up, but you were first.
Powerful fuel cells are based on certain critical raw materials. So I think you are not an exception. Whether circularity is one of the strategy for your company in order to ensure the future supply and expansion in the market?
Brilliant question. So, to what extent are you able to recycle rare metals in your fuel cells?
So I think the first thing that should be said is, yes, fuel cells use certain raw materials that are very valuable, in particular platinum in our case. However, I think contrary to batteries, there is an existing system to recuperate and recycle platinum today already. And I think this is what really makes the difference with batteries, where you use critical raw materials, but you don't necessarily have already the recycling supply chain in place. And second, we're not talking about the same volumes at all. Then what is also important to note is that platinum is already today in catalyzers, for internal combustion engine vehicles. We know that the consumption of platinum in these applications is going to diminish because of the phase out of ICE cars. And that's good news, for us fuel cell guys, because we will be able to take up some of the supply from that industry. So we are actually not worried at all on the raw material side when it comes to platinum, and we don't use any other critical raw material that would be of concern compared to what other industries are maybe facing.
All right, very interesting. Do you have any more questions from the audience? I think I saw you with your hand up first, so.
So thank you for your interesting insights. Actually, I have two questions for you. The first would be, what would you see in the long run and on a large scale potential customers? Since, for example, big players in the automotive industry like Volkswagen, they've shifted their center of attention towards electric mobility and not hydrogen fuel cells.
So the question is, how do you see the mobility market developing?
Okay.
Where do you see a role for
Yeah.
hydrogen in there?
So maybe what I can say is, as some of you might know, this is news from late last year. We will actually welcome very soon an additional shareholder to Symbio, which is Stellantis. So the Stellantis group, which is the result of the merger between Peugeot, Citroën, Opel on the one hand and Fiat Chrysler on the other hand, is going to invest in us. I think I can say that because even Carlos Tavares, mentioned it quite officially at the CES in Las Vegas in January. So they clearly, bet, and they bet big on hydrogen. They believe in this for light commercial vehicles, but they also look at other platforms in their portfolio. For light commercial vehicles, the use case is very simple. These are users that use these vehicles for professional use. They need to transport weight of volume. They need to do often significant distance, over 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers a day. And time is money. So, they cannot wait for recharging. So Stellantis believes, and we believe together with them, that there is an interesting use case in LCV. Now, there are other segments that are starting to look into fuel cells. In the US, the equivalent to European light commercial vehicles is pickup. So they are similar use case where also many players are starting to understand that battery alone will not do the trick. So we really believe that fuel cells will be a complement to battery. We don't see each other as competitors, but it's really a complement to cover the entire portfolio of use cases that drivers, users of those vehicles have. Because in the end, if it's about 100% decarbonization of mobility, then you need to be able to really cover all those different use cases. And we believe this is the case in LCV. We know it's already happening in bus and coach. There are hundreds, thousands of buses that will be rolled out in fuel cells over the next few years in Europe and elsewhere. Obviously, truck, no doubt. So this is the this is the case. I don't know whether this answers the question.
Yeah, I see a very satisfied questioner here. So you're talking about these light commercial vehicles, these LCV. When do you believe, together with your partners, you can bring these to the market? When will we be able to have a small van on hydrogen?
Well, you can actually already have one today. So you need to call, either Peugeot or Citroën or Opel. You can also ask me. I can put you in touch if really you're looking for one. So the first vehicles are actually already out on the market with a number of customers across Germany, France, but also now progressively in other European countries. Obviously, this is still small series, but it is starting. And from next year onwards, we're going to move to much higher volumes. So-called step 2, where we are talking about several thousands of vehicles that will be produced per year. Again, first and foremost for the European market, with then the plan to also move to the US.
Wow, very interesting. So will you bring one of those trucks next year, or is that maybe? We'll have to see if we still have the space with all the expanding that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we do have actually not here, but we do have vehicles. We have one ourselves that we're driving every day. It does, it goes from Switzerland to France and back. It works very well.
Very nice. And so maybe we can't see the full vans here today, but what can we see at your stand today? What should the people come to see?
So we're actually showing a stack. So we have opened, we have opened the door to allow customers to look at our stack. So this is it's a stack for the 75 kilowatt system. It's a next gen 1 technology. It has an innovative full stack monitoring system attached to it, which allows to basically measure in real time the voltage of each cell, and therefore monitor the health of the stack during its lifetime. So that is on show on our stand. It's a metal bipolar plate technology, extremely compact, and this is currently being delivered as a system to the first customers, with a plan to go to mass production from 2025.
Well, and I think it all sounds very promising, and there's a lot happening, and everything is developing super quickly. Are there also any challenges that you see in your daily life, or in the near future for Symbio?
Well, I could talk tons about the challenge that we have at Symbio every day, and I guess I'm not the only one in the fuel cell industry who would say that. But I think what is key now is the technology is becoming ready, and this is also thanks to massive financial support from typically the European Union. So the technology bricks are there. What is needed now is recharging infrastructure. So today, typically in Europe, there are about 250 stations across the continent. There is the AFIR, which is the Alternative Fuel Infrastructure Regulation, which was adopted recently, which will actually make sure that every 200 kilometers along all major highways across Europe, there will be a hydrogen recharging station going forward. But we believe this is not enough. So infrastructure is needed, and more than what is planned with the AFIR. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is these vehicles are still obviously, and this was the same thing for battery electric, they are more expensive than a diesel alternative. At least as long as the CO2 price is not where it should be. So there is support needed for the rollout of those vehicles. Some countries have started, but more could be done. And third, there is obviously a question of hydrogen price. We know that the US has made a bold move with the IRA, and we know there's the European Hydrogen Bank that will help. But clearly, getting towards a competitive hydrogen price, which is which should be around 4 or 5 euros per kg at the pump, is definitely what we should target.
So if I may sum it up, the technology is ready, the cars are ready. We just need affordable hydrogen and readily available hydrogen, and then we'll be off to the races.
That's
All right.
that's what we believe in. Yeah.
That's a great point to end it on. So thank you very much, Christophe, for joining me here on stage. So please, everybody, give a round of applause to Christophe. You can
Thank you.
find him. I see there's a lot more questions. You can find him on booth C53, which is if you take this alley all the way down, you will find them together on a stand with Varesia, if I'm not
Absolutely, yeah.
mistaken. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thanks again. Thanks, everybody.